Ron DeSantis gave this incredible speech at the Yale Society on why Florida works. It actually does extend to the entire United States, but he talks about what is inspiring about it is that he encourages we conservatives to stay on the fight, that all you have to do is take a stand against the woke DEI mind virus and it goes away. That's why he won this fight. And I think he's actually making a great case for the future, not only of Florida, but his own political career. Welcome to the Doug TenNapel channel. Watch this.
And emergencies, all these things. But in terms of where I want to take us in terms of philosophy and what principles I want to see reflected in the policies that govern my people, the thing that motivates me is, I want to beat the left across the board. I don't want to give them an inch on everything. I have not seen any institution that has succumbed to leftism succeed. In fact, they're corrupted to the core when that happens.
What Ron DeSantis says here is true. That's the big theme of this whole thing, which is that you have to fight leftism across the board. If you're a conservative, if you're an American, if you're MAGA, if you're a Republican, we are against. This is a pagan ideology. This is a cult-like belief system. It is a cult. It is a religion. Leftism is a religion. That is, it puts itself above everything else as the sole identity. It makes itself God. It is also attracted to power because it is a lie. It is a false ideology. It tells you seek positions of power. That is, if Disney animation is culturally big and everyone's watching it, then leftism says, oh, there's some power we have to go get. So leftism inserts itself into Disney animation and starts ruining the content itself. It's like it is literally a virus. Viruses go into your cells and take over the cell production and make them start replicating the virus. Okay, that's how liberalism works. It is in and of itself, it seeks power. I'll give you a contradistinction, an opposite way of thinking, which is in the Bible, which says, we are weak, therefore God is strong. You also have people like Paul, who is an excellent tent maker. He wasn't making Christian tents. He was a Christian who, because of his adherence and worship of the Father, he believed he was making tents and working for the Father. He didn't have to start putting scriptures all over the tents. They didn't have to be, put crosses on them and stuff. That is an excellent tent. Your excellent work is part of how you work for the Father.
I don't want to give them an inch on everything. I have not seen any institution that has succumbed to leftism succeed. In fact, they're corrupted to the core when that happens. So as a leader now, you have to understand it's not just about what government does. That's a huge part of it, don't get me wrong. And in Florida, I'm proud to say we have the lowest number of state employees per capita in the United States of America. We have the lowest debt per capita. We have no income tax. Since I've been governor, we've paid off 36% of the state's debt from 1840s to the present. And so we do it right. We limit government. And that's really, really important. But it's not enough because the left has captured so many institutions in our society that if you say, hey, all I'm going to do is make sure I cut taxes and look after spending and then don't do anything else, the left will win the way things are in American society now.
That is an important warning, guys, straight from Ron DeSantis's mouth. It's not enough to just resist the left. The left is at war. It is always forward rolling. Now it's been majorly kicked in the nuts since the election, and you'll see it culturally. I noticed it during the Super Bowl commercials, how very few were about the gay agenda, or very few were about white people are evil. Suddenly, the culture says that is a bad brand. That brand has been kicked back a little bit since the election. It has weakened, but do not let up on it. Don't take your boot off leftism's neck. It must be destroyed and eradicated because it's still false. It's still a cancer. It's still so saturated in the way that we talk that it hasn't been properly pushed out yet. Bits of its falseness are still in every bit of our lives. And that's my warning to MAGA too, is don't take on this aim for power. You should always aim for excellence. Aim for excellence, because we've seen the woke virus, as Ron DeSantis says. This is even in Florida. It has gone into so many institutions. Which institutions? Education, in the schools. It's teaching your kids just the most satanic, evil things that are false. Even in the church, it's in the church. Feminism is all over the church. And I don't mean the soft, we believe women are great feminism. That's not what feminism is. It never was, by the way. The idea that a woman and a man are interchangeable is what feminism does. There's nothing feminine about it. The church, Disney animation and the Disney theme parks there in Florida, we've seen it all over our own government.
So, for example, we've taken on the universities in the state of Florida.
Another institution.
If you are somebody that is at a commencement ceremony and you're screaming and yelling and shouting down the speaker, we hold you accountable for that conduct. You have a right to your opinions. You don't have a right to exercise bad behavior. So we have actually withheld people's degrees because they violated code of conduct. And guess what? The minute you start to see consequences, the minute the inmates know they don't run the asylum, they start to behave much better.
And that's the left has only gone as far as it has because we didn't fight it. The reason why you have kids screaming at commencement speakers is because they were allowed to. Not enough people would say, no, you're wrong. No, you can't burn down a Wendy's. No, you can't do that. No, you can't go to our churches and speak out of turn. Okay, you can't protest there. You can try, but we never shame them out. We never remove them out. We never cut their jobs because they were left-wing lunatics that would not produce quality work. They demanded that they produce DEI work. That is, they put a different goal at the top than air traffic control, than being lethal in the military. We stopped doing that. We started saying the firefighters in LA, we started saying instead of hiring the best firefighters that were the most effective at that #1 game, which is to stop fires, we said, we want a 30% female firefighters hired. And they would boast about it, say, we have 30%. We have the first gay and lesbian fire chief. We have the first, you know what I mean? They're saying what their qualities are. They started hiring them all throughout video games and destroyed video games. Video games are terrible to play because they're no longer saying our #1 thing is to make an addictive game that everyone wants to play, that is great to play, even though it's not trying to tell everyone what to think. Games are terrible now. They spend so much time trying to tell you what to think. And it ruins the thing that it claims to go and help, because the left and the woke ideology, their goal is not the excellence of the thing. It is to self-perpetuate the virus going into the cell and reproducing itself.
And that's how it should be in every university around this country. We've also understood, how did the universities get to this place? And a lot of it is because there's this notion that the faculty should control the universities. And so if you put yourself up for tenure, I would imagine if you put yourself up for tenure at Yale Law School and you don't toe the ideological line, you're probably not going to get it, right? I mean, 9 out of 10 times. That doesn't work for us. And so what we did in Florida is we did two main things. One, all tenured professors have to undergo review and they can be let go for poor performance. And so we've been able to filter out unproductive ideological faculty. The media will say, brain drain from Florida, faculty leaving because of this law. And I'm just thinking to myself, wait a minute. If we're losing professors of intersectional Marxism, that's not bad for Florida. That is good for Florida. So you've seen that. But we've also paired that with an empowerment of our university boards of trustees, which I appoint, and presidents of the university to bring in faculty. And so we give them a lot of money so they can say, hey, you're making $250,000 at MIT, we'll give you $300,000 to come to University of Florida. So we've brought in a lot of faculty who are not infected with this woke mind virus and actually believe in what a university should be. And the traditional mission is pursuing truth, teaching students to be able to think critically and think for themselves, and preparing our students to be citizens of our republic.
Now that can't be overstated, but notice he went in to the brains of these institutions, removed the woke ones, and spent a ton of money to get the right pursuit of excellence people to defend the institution. You have to go to the top. You have to and we have hired so many people at the top of our churches, at the top of video games, at the top of government, that had the goal of the woke ideology. We had 4 years of President Brandon putting in people with this woke ideology. They were there just to multiply that mind virus. They didn't have to be excellent. We're going in through Doge now and seeing just how bad of a job they were. And suddenly you look around and institutions like FEMA can't do their job. FEMA are terrible. You look around and go, wow, they can't do basic calisthenics. They can't do basic physical activity in our military, in the fire department. Suddenly you start losing excellence. Video games start selling less. No one wants to see Disney movies. No one wants to subscribe to Disney Plus. Their stuff is social engineering, gay and lesbian dreck. What happened to just telling a good story, having great characters, making us all laugh? They wouldn't allow comedians to tell certain jokes. They started canceling people. What Ron DeSantis is talking about are the very unpopular efforts because if you're in culture and you go and you can a DEI hire, you go and can someone who's woke, who's saying, you're no different than if I have an accounting firm and I hire a Jehovah Witness to be an accountant, and all he does is share about Kingdom Hall and being a Jehovah Witness every day instead of doing his job. All he does is talk about being a Jehovah Witness instead of being a good accountant. He's pushing an ideology and he's no longer functioning as an accountant. You have to fire that guy or confront him and say, take all this ideology out and you're now an accountant again. Well, the leftism will not allow you to be silent about their number one job, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, progressivism, liberalism. They change the name of Marxism every time it fails. Marxism fails, now it's socialism. Socialism fails, then it becomes liberalism. Liberalism fails, then they rename it progressivism. Progressivism fails and it becomes woke. Wokeism fails and it's DEI. They're all the same thing. They have to change the name. Now that DEI has failed, I guarantee you they will come up with a new name on what they call their thing, which is not pursuit of excellence, pursuit of merit. Even Aristotle said the law of identity, A is A. The thing is a thing. You have to believe in the excellence of the job that you're going to go pursue, and then you work for the Father to make the best product of that job. That is totally against the woke virus. That's blasphemy.
So recentering higher education is something that's really, really significant. We don't cede higher education to the left in the state of Florida, nor do we cede K through 12 education in the state of Florida. And that doesn't even mean what we're doing in terms of school spending, school choice. And we do have universal school choice in Florida. Every parent can simply choose the school and the money will follow the student. And so we've liberated hundreds of thousands of students from poor choices. And guess what's happened with this? Our school districts perform better than they did prior to there being full-fledged educational choice, because they have to compete for students, they have to modernize their offerings, they have to do things to convince parents that that's where you should send. So we're proud of that. It's important, but we're also very intent on empowering parents to be a part of this beyond just choosing the school. Every parent has a right to know what's being taught in their kid's classroom. It's not acceptable to be teaching fourth graders that they were born in the wrong body or that their gender is a choice. We have fought back against that. We've empowered parents to expose that. And as a result, people's education is much better than if we let things run wild like they do in so many of the other blue areas of the country.
And that's why I'm gonna wrap this up. His talk is excellent, guys. This is meat, good meat. It's 44 minutes long. We're only 7 minutes in. But Ron DeSantis got that he was at war with that woke ideology, probably 4 years before it was popular. That's why I like him so much. He really does understand where the fight is. And in this final point, he talks about the money following the student, which is why all woke, all leftism despises school choice. It's a free market idea. Milt Friedman's free market, normal. It allows merit. It allows quality to be the deciding factor of your school. When the money follows the kid, the free market happens. The parents take that money with that kid and they take it to another school, and that school gets the funding that goes with that kid. Liberalism is a lie. Progressivism is a lie. Marxism is a lie. So it can't compete on the free market. It only succeeds by top-down power indoctrination. That's why I'm just explaining to you why they do what they do. That's the only way that it works, is by aiming for power structures, for the top of power structures. Go look in the Bible. You won't see Jesus say, now that you're a Christian, go try to be the president or the emperor because it's the most powerful, and push my word out through being the emperor. God is already the top power. He doesn't need, he has conquered entire civilizations without being the king, the earthly king, without being the earthly president. Because when the church obeys God, we have the most powerful being in the universe, that we are joining his side and his will. And that is something that the woke ideology will have no competitors, and that's why it tries to destroy the church, destroy all these other philosophies of merit. I know this gets way out there and kind of philosophical, but I think Ron DeSantis here at Yale is really unpacking what's important. What do you guys think? Hope you guys subscribe to this channel. Give us lots of likes and lots of comments below. That helps push this video out. It really helps our channel out. More importantly, it's where we get to hear from you. I'm Doug in exile.